It's great to see you virtually almost. And thank you for joining us today, Frankie and I, as we talk about the fourth step in the four-step guts formula, which is setting realistic goals and visualize them happening. Remember, when we started this a few weeks ago, we talked about number one, the G in the guts formula is to gain knowledge and become an expert in your field or hobby to build confidence. We talked about using positive affirmations, which are statements that are said and thought about that are very positive and in the present tense so that the subconscious mind can deliver to you what you say you want. And also, we talked about training your thoughts, how to think more clearly, more distinctly, and more positively. And remember, the National Science Foundation says that there's 60,000 thoughts we think per day. So if we're half positive, that's 30,000 thoughts. So our goal is to change the other 30,000 or some of them or most of them into more positive and productive thoughts. And then the final step is setting realistic goals and visualizing them happening. I have been using this four-step guts formula for longer than I probably care to admit, but I would say at least 20 years. And just when I think everybody knows this or everybody does this, I realize that they don't. And we all need to be reminded. I am constantly reminded about these steps in the process that you can do on a daily basis to become more empowered, more productive, and happier in your life. It's really simple, but it's not easy to do, especially on a regular basis. So once you write them down, once you practice them, you'll get better and better at it. And when things aren't going the way you want them to go, just review those four steps and see where you need to go to focus. That's what works for me. And that's why I continue to share these ideas with you so that maybe you could be taking advantage of that and improving your own lives. We're all a work in progress. And it's important that we do work on ourselves. I don't like to say work, that sounds like drudgery, but help inspire others but inspire yourself to do great things, to get out of your comfort zone, to think outside the box and enjoy life. So anyway, enough of that. Let's talk about goals. Most of you are goal setters in some way, shape, or form. I think the biggest trick is to write them down. There's been many studies about the power of writing something down, and it's a psychological thing, the way your mind works, and putting pen to paper. I don't have the statistics, but they're out there. And it's really important because it actually gives concrete meaning to that goal. And the research I found is that only 3% of the people that set goals actually write them down. But the 3% that do write their goals down are the most successful. Well, how do you like that? And I also think with goal setting, it's important to break them down into bite-sized pieces so that you feel more empowered when you do accomplish one or two or three. And sometimes don't make them so unrealistic that you're going to get disappointed if you don't reach it. Like, for example, if you're making $50,000 a year and you say, you know what, I'm making $1 million this year. You might, but sometimes if you set the goal too high and you don't back it with feeling and with action, you might set yourself up for a disappointment. So I'm a big believer in setting all different kinds of goals, small, medium, large, and then, oh my God, this is so big, you can't even believe it, goals. And then when you write them down, I always put 2 words after my goals. I write it down in the present tense, I have X. And then I write or better. So if you don't get anything out of this session today, write down those 2 words, or better. Because here's the deal. Sometimes we write down goals that we think we want or need or have to have. Then the universe says, Nah, I don't think so. You know what? I'm going to give you something else, and it's going to be better than you thought. So I always say, this is what I want, this is what I have in my mind already, and that I'm going to attract. Then I write, or better. Because you know what? There's a lot of things out there that we can attract that might be better than our own goals. And in setting goals, it's kind of fun to do sort of like I do a wheel, and you have your career in one segment, like a pie, and you have your personal relationships in another. You may have your spiritual commitments in one, and just have all kinds of various segments for you to focus on and to set goals. One time, I remember in Chicago, I took the personal pie shape of relationships, and I said, you know what? Who do I want to spend more time with, and who am I not spending time with? And I started writing down people's names. And I forgot, I think I came up with maybe 10 names. And I would look at that list, and then I would either consciously or subconsciously be attracted to setting up either an appointment, a dinner, or lunch, or maybe it just came organically to me because I was thinking about it and I wrote it down. But I looked at the end of the year and I went, oh my God, you know what? I have manifested better relationships with these 10 people. And I was so happy about that. So I do that still today. And I do it in all different areas of my life. And I love the fact that having the or better words afterwards attracts things that you may not be aware of in your subconscious mind. For example, I'm going to make a long story very short, hopefully. But as many of you know, our house on Sea Marsh Road in the plantation had been on and off the real estate market for 3 years. Yeah, who was the listing agent? Thank you very much. Anyway, it hadn't sold. Now, oh my gosh, I wrote down this very clear goal of selling the house, how much we were going to sell it for, and I put a time frame in there, but I did say or better. But I really kind of was focused on the sale of that house. But it didn't happen for various reasons. We actually had a contract once and it fell through. I'm like, I don't get it. So I started thinking about it. There must be some reason because I know I wasn't holding myself back from the good. And one day, one of my coworkers, a fellow agent, came up to me out of the blue and said, would you consider renting your house? I know it's on the market for sale, but would you consider renting it? And I thought, wow, I hadn't thought about that. But that's a consideration, depends on how much rent I could get if it covers a mortgage. Well, to make a long story short, it worked out beautifully. In fact, the people that are renting the house, I sold them another house, and they're moving out the end of September. We also have another couple that is moving in like 4 days later to rent our house again. Now, when you're setting a goal, would I have set a goal that that was going to happen? I couldn't have predicted that. But I also did this. I did say I wanted to sell the house. And maybe these people that are going to be renting it will buy it. That would be great. But also, I wanted somebody that would love the house as much as we did and do. It's our family home. It's where we raised our son Connor. And it's very important that the right people be in that house. So sometimes just be a little bit more open-minded about those goals and about what the possibilities could be because we might miss an opportunity like I almost did. And I'm very grateful for both the people, both sets of people that are renting and are future renting the house. It's in good hands. Anyway, the other thing I wanted to tell you, Dr. Connie Hahn, I've spoken about her a few times. She was a cardiac surgeon when I met her in 2010, I believe, and we included her in the documentary called Women with Guts. And she had told me that when she was very young, and she was, I believe, a sharecropper's daughter, and she had brothers, and her dad wanted her to stay home and work the farm. That was what the sons did, and they wanted her to do the same. But at a very early age, when she was even going to school as a young child in a one-room schoolhouse with no plumbing, she decided that she wanted to be a doctor, and that was her goal. She said the only thing that she wasn't sure about, she knew she wanted to be a doctor, but she wasn't sure what kind of doctor. But she set that intention when she was young, and she became a fantastic, well known cardiac surgeon and has gone on to do other things and get different degrees and go on trips around the world for, to go to different nations that need help in the medical arena. And she's done that for years. So, anyway, it's all about setting goals, setting intentions, and then visualize yourself experiencing that goal. Because the more that you can get your mind in tune with what you want and backed with feeling, this is all about how you feel and putting energy behind it, because that's what's going to make it happen. Don't just write down a goal and say, I want to make more money next year. Really? The universe does not know, or the subconscious mind doesn't know what that means. You want to make more money? What is that? $10 more? $100 more? Be specific, but also include your or better after that. And you will have so much more success, and have fun with it. Make it a game. Make it something that is fun. And then celebrate your successes, no matter how small or how large. Celebrate when something happens that works out, that you put in your mind and put down on paper, and celebrate that success. I want to close with an affirmation, I believe, that I got from my husband, Stan. He's in Atlanta on production and sent me something this morning. And it says, believe in your dream. I'm reading it. In the moment you ask and believe, you already have it in the unseen. The entire universe shifts to bring it into the scene. Pretty cool stuff. Anyway, have a fabulous day, fabulous week. Set those goals, visualize them happening, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks.